Navigating insurance claims and finding the best plans can get really tricky. Now all of that will cost you a little bit more. To explain why rates are going up and how you can prepare, we have Christopher Cook from Alliance Insurance Services here with us today. He's going to be with us for the next 30 minutes taking all of your insurance related questions. Now here's how you get your question to him. You just text it. That's right, 336-379-5775. That is the number that's on your screen. We'll have it on the bottom of the screen throughout the entire question and answer period so that you can text. All right, so first and foremost, let's just talk about this. Rates are going up everywhere, all the time. Why is that?
Well, thanks for making me the bad guy. Appreciate that. How about we don't shoot the messenger?
Okay.
In June, the North Carolina Department of Insurance did pass a requested rate increase. The rate increase came from the insurance carriers across the state. The Department of Insurance approved a rate increase, not as much as the carriers requested to the DOI's credit, but they did approve a rate increase. So that's one of the reasons.
Okay, so we have the rate increase that went into effect June 1st of 2022, and I think we have a graphic that shows that. I think the second thing that's on there is inflation, and we all know that that's been happening.
Yeah, oftentimes I say milk, eggs, bread, and cheese, but I probably should expand that to bricks and sticks. Everything is getting more expensive, and as the homes that we've built and the homes we live in are more and more expensive to build, they're also more and more expensive to repair. And unfortunately, when you have an insurance claim, we have to repair that house at the cost of today's supplies and today's labor. And so when the repairs get more expensive, the insurance premium does as well.
All right, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about like for example, if you had a house that's like $200,000, right? So that you would have a policy that would cover $200,000. Let's do the math on that.
Sure. For me, that's quite easy, just due to the fact that I like numbers in general, but also I built a home, my wife and I did 10 years ago, and the cost per square foot on average a decade ago was around $135 a square foot in the area that we live in. For most of your viewers, a new home in today's time costs $230 a square foot to build, and so that's a pretty rapid expansion in the cost. We're going up $100 a square foot. So, that same 1,800 square foot house that cost a couple $100,000 to build a decade ago has rapidly approached $400,000 to rebuild, and that has made a significant difference in the insurance premium. And you and I will probably talk about later, it also makes a difference in the way claims are adjusted if you don't have the proper amount of coverage in force.
Okay, so let's take a look at the example that we have, just so that people really get the idea. Like if you have a $200,000 house, and we're going to put this up so that you guys can actually see the numbers and do the math with us. A $200,000 house, usually you guys build in a guard for inflation. And so that's like a 25% guard for inflation. So that would be like $50,000 or so. And that means that you have $250,000 like total to rebuild your house. Problem is, like you said, house because of labors and material, it's now going to cost $400,000 today. So what happens with that if you only have a $200,000 policy?
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger again, right? That's not a good scenario. You're going to be paid at that point in time as a percentage of what you insured. So should you have bought a $400,000 policy and you bought a $200,000 policy, then unfortunately half your claim is going to be paid if we're using simple math. And that's a very, very uncomfortable, unfun conversation in those events, unfortunately.
Right, and so you don't want to get stuck with that. So really the main thing is, and I know I did this too just about a month or two ago when I was looking at all the inflation and all that kind of stuff, you need to call your insurance agent and be like, hey, what do I need to do? And that's going to increase your premium, but that also means you're also going to be covered.
You're going to sleep better at night knowing it's correct, yes.
So call your agent and actually have that conversation with them. And I think a lot of people just think every time I call, it's going to cost me more money, but that's not always necessarily true.
Well, no, that's not always necessarily true, too. A good reason to call is, hey, I've replaced the roof on my home. Hey, I have updated my electrical system. Hey, my kid has really good grades. Can we get a good student discount? There's discounts you can earn in those conversations as well. But making sure you're properly insured, and I sort of said it tongue in cheek, but will help you sleep better at night as well. Making sure the coverage that you need is in force is what's going to allow you to rest easy and know that that's taken care of.
And so we were talking about homeowners and stuff like that, but really this kind of goes all the way down. We're talking about car insurance also. The rates have gone up, and especially with the supply chain issues.
Yeah, supply chain issues have really hurt the car insurance market across the board, across the industry. Insurance carriers have lost money this year, and real significant money. But as we came out of COVID and drove more, the number of accidents, the frequency as we call it, increased. But also the supply chain thing made repairs so much more expensive because wait times and other factors were so different than what the industry was used to.
And so you might notice that your car premiums may go up to cover that cost in this meantime. Okay, we're going to talk about what happens if pipes burst in your house. Is it covered? We're going to talk about what happens if rats eat through stuff. Is that covered? We'll talk about that. Plus, we're taking your questions. Remember, you can text us 336-379-5775. We'll be right back.